So this is a quick discussion on the research process for AR3100. So in your first year, I'm just repeating what I said a few minutes ago. You were already in your first year. You were there wasn't any like research format introduced. This was started in your second year. So, for example, Sir Ruel suggested like an office building. So, if you were to design an office building, your introduction would be why are you designing that office building and what makes your office building different from current day office buildings. So, that will feed into your rationale. What kind of technologies and building techniques are you using? And then, with the statement of the problem, it will describe how you're using those new technologies to solve a specific problem. So what kinds of problems are you solving with your office building? Do you want it to be more sustainable, more resilient, etc., etc.? And that will feed into your objectives. So what is your main problem and then how you solve that problem will be written in your objective section. Like I want to make a more sustainable building. Therefore, I want to include what do you call this, a climate sensitive facade. Like how do you make your facade climate sensitive? So that's another point in your objectives. And then when you get to your scope and limitations, because this is a conceptual architectural design project, so you'll just say that you're focused on the architectural design, floor plans, elevations, perspective, and then you'll avoid the more difficult studies economic feasibility studies, traffic studies, stuff like that. You'll focus just on your site and the basics of like what's happening around it. Your significance for my class personally, I didn't require this, but it sort of connects again to your scope and limitations. Why is your research important? And then you can't write about why your research is important if you don't define your objectives and your limitations, and of course the problem statement, etc., etc. And then when you get your definition of terms, reserve this section for terms that are not common. For example, our example was sustainability. What kinds of green technologies will you use? What kinds of technologies are not the layperson don't know. I'm sure the layperson doesn't know what a green wall is, like technically. Let me just show you what a green wall is. Facade, something like this. So you'll really need to like in your definition describe what is this, how is it built, how is it made, and then the kind of things that the kind of definitions you want to avoid in your definition section is don't define what a facade is, don't define what a parapet is. We all know what that is. What is a window? I've seen some research that say what is a facade. So that's something you should not put in your definition section. And then your chapter 2 is your review of related literature. So in your second year, you were asked to cite two sources, and in this year, since this is the first plate, your third year, you will only need for me anyway, I'm happy with two sources. Just make sure those are from books and at least official looking websites. And for me, my main rule is don't use newspaper articles because the problem with newspaper articles, whether it be the Cebu Daily News or the Sunstar Inquirer or Manila Bulletin, is that each sort of news source has biases. And what's happening with just the general way the news is reported is that they're just repeating what's happening without really any objective analysis. So that's what differentiates a research paper from a news article. So really, for me, don't include news articles as part of your sources. Or when you do, use it to like describe an event, but don't use it to like describe a how something is built or how something works. Because newspapers are just people outside looking in. Research is like people on the inside looking in. So like you're really like dissecting what's inside that report. And then your conclusion, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, for this class, I'll be happy with the space matrix, but some people have already included the bubble diagrams. But specifically for my classes, this may change depending on your teacher. I just need the space matrix. So you can have one for this project, your bank, your retail, and your office spaces, or you can combine them all, or you can have like smaller separate ones.